Ladies, gentlemen, everyone else, welcome. It's going to be week 6, day 2, friend or foe. It's going to be Lamb, your play-by-play caster, filling in tonight. Alongside me on the desk is going to be INT, a man who is no stranger to winning games. INT, Fish, Magish, what's going on, brother? How we doing?
Not too bad, Lom. Thank you very, very much. Looks like we are already starting off this game with 2 oil tycoons. We're banning the trees. We don't like vegetation around here.
Well,
Iron
look,
Man. Okay, man.
I wouldn't be too much in complaining if the tree was to make it through, but they are going to take away both of them. I mean, that's got to be target bans of some sort. If you're anti-paper, that's exactly what you're going to go with. But we got 2 colossal teams coming in here. I mean, look at the standings right now. It's still all to play for in their final standings for this season. Universal coming up against Scaling Copium here. What do we think about both of these teams here?
Honestly, this is the match of the night. This is the match you are going to want to watch. These teams are so close together. YUMI is so strong mechanically, Scaling Copium as well. I would probably give the edge just barely to YUMI. I think their macro tends to be a little more consistently good. But it's at the end of the day, it's still a toss-up. You know, it can really go either way. Interesting to see how the draft is going to pan out, though, because I think this match may very well be decided by the draft alone, considering how close these 2 teams are.
So, Fish, it's pretty important. So, a lot of emphasis actually goes on to the AD carry in first pick, and letting certain AD carries through in that banning phase will dictate that. And MF is one of those champions that we've seen consecutively go through as a high priority pick. Now, I'm a little bit surprised on the opposing side that they didn't fill in with the other AD carry. You know, you still got Sivir, who's made a way back into the meta of some sort. Really fallen away a little bit too, but Caitlyn is another one that we've seen so many times, and usually that MF Caitlyn lane is pretty good to go. But this is something to talk about right here, the Blitzcrank that might not be the support, it might be the jungle.
Yeah, I mean, it could very well be Blitzcrank jungle. I think the champion is a little bit stronger in the support role right now. He's certainly a lot more played down there. Looks like it's going to be Olaf top. I'd be pretty surprised if it goes anywhere else, honestly. But yeah, like I was saying, I think Blitzcrank support is extremely powerful right now. I think the Blitzcrank changes, pushing him more towards a fighter, made him do so much more damage. And because of that, not only is he a threat of hooking you, but he's just going to kill you. He's going to blow you up by himself. Honestly insane. I really love the Misfortune Blitzcrank lane here, if that's what they end up going with. Should work pretty well. But the answer from Scaling Copium, that Sivir pick, really does kind of tie a knot and things, make it a lot harder because of that spell shield, meaning that the Blitzcrank really has to be patient with his hooks.
It does. In that matchup that we kind of already spoke about, the Sivir, the MF, it kind of falls into the Pro S of the meta right now. But interestingly enough, YUBI Red, second most placed champion, is going to be the Olaf coming through for him in the top side there. And it's actually important to note as well that Urgot is a fan favorite of this guy as well, but opted to go for the Olaf. So why would you pick the Olaf over the Urgot in this top lane?
Well, I mean, it depends on what your comfort level is, of course. Urgot is, I think, a very underrated top laner right now, considering how easy he is to pilot. He is pretty brain dead. I mean, you can put him on pretty much any player, and he's going to do well. He has pretty good matchups. He actually has a really nice matchup in Aatrox. We see the Aatrox coming out here. But overall, I would say that Olaf is actually a little bit stronger of a champion generally right now. I think he does better into ranged matchups for sure. And I'd say it's a lot harder to counterpick him, because with Urgot, there's really a lot of options to just counterpick him and shut him down. You can pick Mordekaiser, you can pick a different Juggernaut that can just stand there and fight him, and there's really not a whole lot that Urgot can do, so it's pretty sketchy to blind pick him. And considering that they're blue side and they don't really get a lot of counterpicks, I think Olaf is very smart. Oh, baby.
Wait
All right.
a minute. Oh, wow, it made it through the draft, didn't it? We're going to stand corrected. YUBI Red is going to be piloting the Urgot. I was just about to actually say, it's interesting enough that people take the Olaf to counter into the Hecarim, because the ultimate basically doesn't mean anything, and Hecarim's been a jungler that has fallen down that priority. But now we're seeing the Olaf, which will be going against the Vi, and that's a pretty good matchup in all honesty, because as soon as you pop that Ragnarok, there's no attempt from the Vi to try and lock you down. You can still go forward, and that's the biggest promise of having a champion like Olaf on your side. Now, we've seen Swain locked in, we're going to get a Victor on the opposite side of that lane right there, and Victor again is another champion that falls into, I think it is Street Smurf that's going to be taking this up, and that's going to be a champion well within his pool, and he's going to feel super comfortable in that one.
Honestly, I really love that flex Olaf pick from YUBI. That is really pretty smart considering that he has such a good matchup into Vi. Obviously, no ability for Vi to, shut him down once he hits level 6. Just press R, you can't be CC'd. Urgot has a fantastic matchup in Aatrox. It's actually really difficult matchup for Aatrox to play. Very smart pivot there. I love the Swain pick. Very strong champions all around the board. But at the same time, if you look at scaling Copium, it's not like they have a weak draft either. Sivir still very strong. Amumu, very aggressive laner. Aatrox has been just the king of top lane these last few matches, and Smokeswag is certainly no chump in the top lane. Very interested to see how this game pans out, but I would give a very slight advantage to Yuumi overall in this draft. I just think that they drafted a little bit smarter, and I think they're going to be able to utilize that to pull through here.
So the one thing I want to draw your attention to just before we get ready to hit the rift for both of these teams tonight, the Amumu is going to be paired here. Now, the Amumu really looks for that synergy, right? You get that AoE stun, that big stun, the game-changing stun. Again, it might not affect the Olaf as it will the rest of his team, but it's going to be paired with Aatrox, and Aatrox likes to get that Darkened Blade, likes to get that third cast off and get that maximum amount of damage on as many people as it possibly can to keep them in melee range, because the biggest problem for this champion is getting peeled. And now when you look on the side of Universal here, I mean, who's going to do the peeling for this champion? You have the Blitzcrank that can potentially do that, but the MF has to stand in static mode to get that ultimate off, so it's always a threat to try and get onto her, and you pair that with Amumu, that's pretty devastating.
Here's what I think. I think the Amumu pick was literally just for misfortune. I think the whole purpose of Amumu here, you press Q on MF, you press R, you stop her ult. But here's the deal. If you look at YUBI's team comp, they are so hard to engage into. How do you engage into this team? They have so much counter engage. Misfortune will stand her ground. She'll blow you up. You cannot engage in Urgot. That will kill you instantly late game if you're not careful, if you're not ahead. So I think it's actually going to be very difficult here for I think it's going to be very difficult for Copium, scaling Copium, to actually engage in this team comp, especially considering their best bet, the person that's going to be most frontline, Olaf. What is Vi going to do? Is he going to press R on her? Of course not. Of course not, right?
Well, we can make up as many predictions as we possibly can, but at the end of the day, it does not matter for both of these teams. They take to the rift. We did see a cheesy invade going down by YUBI right there, but they don't get anything. They're going to get opposite starts here. Actually, Olaf going to end up on the same side as the Vi, so we'll be able to keep our eyes on that one. Now, here's the other important part. So the Urgot opted to take the teleport in a lane that's going to be very volatile, right? That Aatrox is going to make it very hard for you, opting to take that ignite as well, and it looks like the top laner of YOLO is looking to win that lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of playstyle. Red tends to be a lot more conservative than Smokeswag does. He's a little bit more aggressive, I would say. And so really, Red here is just trying to get a CS lead. He's trying to use his range advantage here. Obviously, his auto attacks are significantly longer range, although Aatrox, ooh, big trade already, big trade.
Yeah, that disdain going to prove that's always going to be the level 1 for the Urgot, and YUBI Red definitely knows how to play this champion, so it's a respectable pick in the level 1. It kind of negates everything that the Aatrox can do in that early game to him.
I love seeing both junglers starting topside. This game means we're going to see a play around bot lane. Oh, okay, big engage here.
Dropping the ignite. Yeah, dropping the ignite was enough to get Red out of there. That might have been a kill, honestly. If the Urgot was to try and commit to that, level 2 actually came through for the Urgot in the middle of that, so might have got the purge off, and it could have spelled the first kill of the game, but it doesn't, and that's going to be the volatility that we were just talking about.
We actually see Aatrox back out of that. Should be a pretty big lead here for Urgot, considering he has TP, Aatrox doesn't. And Aatrox, of course, forced it back. But again, that just comes down to Red's playstyle. He doesn't like taking risks. He likes playing nice and safe, getting a CS lead, and scaling up pretty well. And looks like he's doing that. Looks like he's going to have a lot of success in that aspect. Going back to
hook
bot lane
shot
here.
goes wide, but the bandage toss does not. Glacial going to proc off of that one, going to trade over a little bit damage come through from the Sivir. You're seeing that traded over by the MF as another Ravenous Flock goes over a Civillock in that mid lane. Swain going to look and try and get those never move procs as much as he can, and really you're scaling with the health in that mid lane, so the scaling is definitely online in this game. It's just a case of who's going to do it better.
Ooh, we do see that Olaf is clearing his camps a little bit faster. He is coming in for this bot lane gank. He's going to be there a little bit before Vi. Interesting to see if they can make anything out of this. Looks like Olaf is going in. See on the minimap.
Well, it looked like
Looks
Swain was
dramatically.
walking down there first over the priority on the Victor, and that's enough to try and get that crab. See the Disdain going to go wide from YUBI Red. He's going to get tagged up by both. 3 strikes of that Darkened Blade, fully stacked Conqueror. Aatrox looking like a monster, fully in control of that wave, and looks to push that in there. As we take a look at the CS numbers, just a 10 CS difference. YUBI Red forcing Smoke Swag to go back early on the game, and we'll definitely be keeping our eyes on that top lane matchup. As Red 25%, probably a little bit less than that, and he's on a knife's edge in that top lane.
You do say that, but again, Red does have his teleport up, and he is 10 CS up at 4 minutes. So I'd say this lane is going pretty well for him overall. But really, I want to see some action down here in the bot lane. Both very, very aggressive supports. We have a Mumu, we have Blitzcrank. Any Qs go flying around, we can see a lot of violence very, very quickly.
Well, it might be worth noting as well, Jeff and Brian, they're probably going to wait for that level 6. You know, that bullet time is so decisive when it comes to these 2-on-2s, especially in the early game, without any additional support coming through from your junglers. So that's an important thing that we need to keep our eyes on as well. As Ghost was popped by Utility Monster very recently. It looks like he tried to get a gank in the top lane and it didn't work. Okay, Hook going to go through straight on the Amumu. Bandit Toss going to repeat it back, make it rain. Going to slow down the Amumu. Might have to use the flash. No, he's got balls of steel in that bot lane.
He is so low. Frozen Age just down there on the Amumu. I'm surprised he didn't get picked up, but I think that's exactly what you want to be doing if you're the YUBI bot lane here. I think Sivir is just very, very low damage pre-6, and especially before that first back, Misfortune should have a pretty big advantage. You want to be a little bit more aggressive here. But overall, bot lane's actually very, very even. Sivir is managing to maintain that CS lead, but surprisingly, Misfortune is pushing them in, which is a very, very impressive feat against Sivir, considering how much wave clear that champion has, especially after her rework.
So Frozen AJS needs to be a little bit more careful. Think about those engages before they actually happen. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a position just like this. Now, it looks like this is going to be a slow push. So the bot lane of Jeff and Brian doing really well in this matchup, where Sivir tends to take over once you get that first back off and you start to get items to try and clear these minion waves as they crash into the turret here. And it's important to play that mind game as well here, Fisher. I mean, you have to time that spell shield for the hook, because that's the thing that's going to secure you. Hook actually goes into the minion, as I said that. We're going to get a ghost procced by the Swain as well. So that threat, Street Smurf, so early in the game, he actually hit level 6. And I think he used the Chaos Storm to try and kill him right there, and he didn't get anything for it.
No, didn't get anything at all. That's actually going to be a pretty big advantage for Civillock having ult, and he knows Street Smurf doesn't have it. But like you were saying, bot lane, it is really a matter of who has more, nerves of steel. Whether Blitzcrank hooks first or whether Sivir pops that spell shield. Because if Sivir pops that spell shield, Blitzcrank just walks up, gets the hook. Pretty simple, I think. But again, if Sivir just has nerves of steel, just holds it, there's not a whole lot Blitzcrank can really do. Coming back up to the top lane, we do see Aatrox has managed to claw back a lot of that CS disadvantage. However, there is a pretty fat lane here for Red. Again, he went for the Cull, looks like. Gonna play pretty safe here. Just gonna scale up. Why not? Urgot scales pretty well, and Aatrox, although he spells decently, I would say Urgot has a little bit of an advantage there late game.
All right, 7 minutes into the game, we only see a 300 gold lead. Right now, it's not much to even say anything about, and that's primarily because of the CS numbers across the board. You see a lead actually in the mid lane for Street Smurf, fully in control. And Victor's going to look for those upgrades before you can actually get that effective wave clear that this champion can offer you, that stabilization in the mid lane. And early on in the game, if Victor can get through that, then it's not really a problem for this champion, because he can continue to scale, gets those unlocks with the upgrades coming through as well. So the fact that there's no jungle pressure on the mid lane makes me a little bit worried, and Street Smurf might have a free game here, so we'll definitely keep our eyes on that matchup, as they're definitely doing a good job of tracking the junglers. You see pings going down onto the Olaf, and you have to keep your eyes on this guy. The Ghost is about to be up as well, so Utility Monster might be looking to make a play here. You see topside going to get pushed in, and we see the first aggressive roam into the bot side river, but it's just on the vision duty.
Yeah, it looks like they're setting up for Dragon. Maybe Olaf comes down here, wants to pick it up. He does have his Ghost up pretty much at this point. And then about mid lane, I gotta say, I am a big fan of Street Smurf. I mean, just the confidence you have to name yourself Street Smurf in Mythic League is pretty crazy, and he always comes out here and performs. Swain is no pushover champion. Victor very strong as well, but I mean, just the fact that he's already about 14, 15 CS up on him. Very, very
Oh,
impressive.
level 6 actually procced right there. The Blitzcrank gets the silence down. Going to get the Ignite dropped on him as he went aggressive on Sivir right there. Warplague definitely on a nice edge in that bot lane. And is going to be able to push this in without the threat of that silence coming through. Now, that's an important combination because if you get the silence off on the Sivir, she can't spell shield that hook.
Oh yeah, I'm honestly really surprised that YUBI didn't end up going in there. They did have the level advantage, both of them level 6, compared to Warplague Frozen Aegis, both level 5. Really kind of well done there by them. They decided, hey, we can't take this fight. Let's just back off, blow the Ignite, get the hell out of here. No problem.
All right,
Looks
that
like
war
we
of nutrition as well. It's going to be so huge in this game. Both of these teams pretty even in the standings,
Olaf
and
coming in
there's
for the
reason
gank.
for that. Okay, on the hunt's going to be popped. Amumu still has the flash, going to get the bandage toss back on. Today, the carry gets the curse of the sad mummy out, but he's got the ignite dropped on top of him. Bandage toss back in, but that's going to be first blood going through a utility monster. We said we had to keep our eyes on him, and that's exactly what we did. But here comes Vi. Assault and Battery is going to go into Olaf because he didn't proc the Ragnarok in time. Trade over the kill for the jungler, and that might be an aggressive positioning stance on that dragon.
There you go. Olaf already propped his Ragnarok to avoid getting stunned by a Mumu there, and he doesn't have it for the Vi ult. Boom, gets locked down. Sivir ends up getting the assist. Vi gets the kill there. She's going to have a, not an, I wouldn't say an advantage over Olaf, but definitely a lot more even than it would otherwise be. Although we do see Triforce coming out from Olaf. Very, very aggressive build. He wants to do a lot of damage. This guy wants in, okay? I 100% respect it. I don't know. Very, very close game. 1-for-1. We did see the first blood go down for YUBI. Doesn't matter. They're still down 500 gold.
Infernal Chain's going to bring back the Urgot. Red is going to be able to eat that wave up as he's normally done in this top lane. Basically the pace of the game is pretty slow. Honestly, that's the first action we've had. Of course, they're going to be first blood going over. Fortunately, it's both on the jungler, so that makes it even spicy for us here, Fish. These guys are getting involved and they're making things happen. As you see the pings going down onto the dragon, but the Swain has the first move in the mid lane.
Yeah, I mean, I always love to see these aggressive builds from the junglers. You can see Vi going for Sunder. You can see Olaf goes for that Triforce. They want to do damage this game. They don't want to go tank. They're like, listen, man, I'm here to kill people, okay? I'm not here to take damage. I'm here to kill people. And although it might be a little bit more on the boring side, a little bit more slow pace to watch teams play like this, I mean, you can completely understand why they would do it, right? Sit there, play safe, scale up, no mistakes. This is the kind of play I would expect out of Mythic teams, you know what I mean? Just very, very strong players, respecting their opponents, understanding what their win conditions are, and, I would say playing it pretty close to perfect.
I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to hit you with it. So this is the NE playstyle that finds them 0 and what in worlds? We'll forget about that for now. We're talking about these two giants. I mean, I can't say very much. I mean, the European standpoint is pretty damn good right now, Fish. I can't say very much about that, but I can tell you my pickings is sitting pretty good right now. That's for sure. But we're going to see this bot lane wave be pushed in. Brian and Jeff, I love the silence going on right here, baby. It's... I mean, you got to be in it to win it, baby.
It's a ping diff, and North America ping, man. They just don't have the mechanics that you see Chinese players, Korean players have. But the macro is, I think, really, really solid, and we are seeing that a lot in this game.
Yeah.
Olaf has a huge CS advantage over Vi. I don't know if you've noticed that. He's up 30 CS over Vi already. That's honest.
That make it rain was actually the only thing that was stopping them dying there. Who goes through straight onto the spell shield? Good timing. Come through from Warplague.
Oh, gorgeous.
And they might even be able to get this this play. And this is kind of what you want to see from the Sivir, right? You want to see that lane pushed in if they know where the jungler is. And they're going to be shadowed by the Vi right now. So they're trying to get as much gold as they can. Okay, they bait the flash out from Brian. Curse of the Sad Mum is going to go down with the Vault Breaker coming in from the Vi. They're going to collect one. Bullet time's going to go off. But stasis in place. Amumu, it's not enough to save your life. But the trade over, the bot lane's going to fall on the side of YUBI. You see a fight in that top lane right there. Execute is available. Okay, Smoke Swag gonna sidestep it like it's nothing. And Civil gonna get that other Ravenous Flock stack going over, increasing the health. And we see a little bit more action going into this mid game.
Yeah, I mean, boom, just like that, the game explodes out. Really gorgeous done gank there in the bot lane. Really nicely done. Jeff Godgamer picking up that return kill there on the Amumu. Forced to blow a stopwatch. Sivir forced to blow her flash. And well, actually, see Aatrox picked up here real quick, drops the
Yeah,
Riptide. A lot of
I
gold here.
mean, Smoke Swag was there, but for how long, it's not known. Chaos Storm going to go down. Utility Monster needs to get a heal, but Olaf going to get frozen up in that gravity field. That's pretty sad. Ghost going to be popped as well. Okay, gets Siphon Power, get that speed up. But it's not going to chase it anymore. Red's going to walk away with his life, but we can't say the same for the jungler right there. But they do secure first turret with that Herald in the top lane.
I would say hashtag worth at the end of the day. Really nice play from Victor there. Get the macro play coming up top lane, picking up that Olaf. He just has no magic resistance because he's building against Vi, right? You know, he took the armor rune. No magic resistance against that Victor. He's got the Sork boots, he's got the Ludens, and he just blows him up. So much damage there. And returning to a little bit more of a lull state here, but instead, Yuumi does have about a 1.5k gold lead. So starting out for a strong early game. And I would say they scale pretty smoothly here into the late game, especially. Ooh, Jeff got Gamer in a little bit of trouble here.
Blade,
Beautiful.
Infernal Chains on a Jeff God Gamer, Jeff God Goner. As Smoke Swag makes use of that alone AD carrying the bot lane. I was about to say, Jeff's had a lot of alone time with that turret because the macro was a little bit off there, but he pays with that with his life, and he doesn't even get that turret.
And I mean, even with that alone time there in the bot lane, we can see he's still down maybe 20 CS against Sivir here. Just gorgeous skill shots there from Smoke Swag. Really, really impressive stuff. He knew exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly how to pilot his champion. Picks up the kill, swings that gold lead back towards Copium, and only about a 1k gold deficit now. Pops the ult, might as well. He wants to get out of there. Aatrox ult, not a very long cooldown.
Oh, Blitzcrank using the Hex Step flash right there to get over. Amumu going to get the curse of Sad Mummy, but the turret's on you, buddy. Brian going extremely low. He's going to burn to death. That's going to be accredited to the Blitzcrank, dropping the Ignite just in time before he falls. They trade over both supports in the mid lane.
Incredibly aggressive play there. Incredibly aggressive. Really surprised Amumu opted to go in there. Honestly surprised Blitzcrank was able to go down, but again, just sort of accelerating this game here. Unfortunately, the kill did go to Amumu versus Jeff God Gamer on the Misfortune getting the kill on their side. It's a very slight win for YUBI there, but at the end of the day, Blitzcrank and Amumu also very, very strong champions. So Amumu getting that gold is certainly not a bad thing.
Oh, Bloon. Oh, you were going the right way, but now you're in the wrong side of
boy.
town. Destiny going to go down, make it rain. Goodbye, jungler. They pick him off because they have the wards in place, and now they're going to collapse on the second dragon of the game.
Gorgeous play there from YUBI. Very, very easy pickup on this dragon here, and they start off the game 2-0 on the drags. Really, really impressive. Really well done there. Picking up the Vi, getting great vision in the enemy jungle, and able to know exactly where she's going to walk through. Able to get that, get that easy gank and just snowball the game from it, I think.
Hextech Soul is going to be the one they're playing for in this one, and it can safely be said that Universal will 2 away from that, but we might see a fight here. Nevermove going to go down onto Frozen Aegis, going to stop the Amumu, but on the backside here comes Smoke Swag. Dark and Blade going to go down. Bullet Time will tag up the rest of the team, but has to be cancelled as Brian's running for the hills, gets deleted by that death ray coming through from the Victor, re-engaged from the bandage toss with Amumu is good. Double kill onto the Victor. Destiny going to secure the Vi as well. Ragnarok's going to be popped. So Olaf can't stand up. He's going to trade over the kill to get another 2 back. Oh my god.
Wow.
This Swain is just on point. This might be a quadra. Triple kill goes over. It's going to get ruined up by the Nevermove again. As Red is just standing firm. Doesn't want to give anything else over except his damn life as the Aatrox flashes a mastery. Double kill. Goes over to Smoke Swag. And they claim, I think it was the ace. First ace of the game.
Wow, what a team fight there. We see at the end of the day, the resets on the Aatrox ult are what's able to just barely tip the fight in their favor. Oh my god, so much AoE damage coming out from that Aatrox, so much AoE damage coming out from that Victor. Dwayne and Urgot on the other team just pounding people. Wow, what a crazy team fight. 9 players dead there. The only person who lives is Aatrox. Jeez. And again, a huge swing away from YUBI there on the gold deficit. You can see they're only up 1k gold at this point when right before the dragon, I think they're up like what, 2.5k, something like that. Really well done there.
1,000 gold, the difference after that huge team fight skirmish goes to show the prowess of both of these teams when it comes into these 5-on-5 team fights. They're very ready. They get the spaces off. And it looked very one-sided very early on, but then the Olaf came into the picture, and then all of a sudden the Aatrox returned to favor, and so we find ourselves, like we said, it's going to be 1,000 gold, and it looks like they'll start up Shelly. So Universal not wasting any time. They want to try and push an advantage that they have, specifically through that top laner. The Aatrox doing pretty good in this game so far.
Really is. I mean, at the end of the day, oh, Frozen Aegis
Hooked
gets
over,
hit.
Curse of the Sad Mummy on 3. Okay, Death Ray, Chaos Storm going to go down. Bullet Time's going to be returned. The Urgot's going to be the first to fall as Bloon goes unstoppable, but he's going to be deleted. Street Smurf has to run away. He's got the Ghost Pop, but it's enough to get away from the Olaf. They're going to turn back in that top side, and it's going to be the Aatrox running down the rest of the team as Warplate goes over, but that's actually the triple going over a Jeff on this Misfortune. This could be the quadra if he gets it. It's not enough, but it's going to be secured by the Swain nonetheless, and they trade over. 4 for 4, both of these teams slugging it out.
Wow, I mean, you can see just how powerful that Aatrox really is here in these team fights. Such devastation from him, especially with that high damage build he's got going on. Wow, really close game here, but Swain is so powerful right now. He's 4-1, so much gold lead. Misfortune able to pick up a couple kills there too. Really starting to accelerate this game. Really starting to see some action here. Very close. Again, I think these two teams are both powerhouses. We see fantastic macro coming out from either side. Can really go both ways at this point. Wow.
So to start that fight off, Brian actually got the hook, but he hooked the Amumu into his own team. If Frozen Aegis is going to go down, you better believe he's taking some numbers with you. The Amumu gets it all off in time, and they return it. Again, we're looking at, it's about a 2,000 gold lead right now. For Universal, they're sitting pretty good even after these team fights, and you can see the shutdown gold. It's going to be displayed on your screen. It's going to be on the Swain right now. He's sitting on the Rylai's and Leandres. He is pretty big in that mid lane, and you can better believe that the more these team fights go on, the Swain's going to really enjoy it.
What's really surprising to me is you see no heal cut on either team here. You have a lot of very high healing champions. You've got that Swain, you've got that Aatrox, and no heal cut for either team. Really kind of curious to see whether anybody's going to build it or whether they're just going to let people, you know, heal up their entire health bar every fight. But man, that Aatrox is so scary if you don't get that heal cut.
And just to emphasize how close this game is, On the Hunt was popped by the Sivir, but it was enough to get the Ghost out as Civillock. The respect is definitely there for both of these teams. As you see, Shelly's going to be dropped in the mid lane. They're going to try and rally round the Herald here, but Gravity Field's going to keep her in place. Mumu is on the flank here, so you need to be careful with that. Make it rain. Try and separate the rest of the team, but it's doing no damage. They're going to kill Shelly here. Okay, they're going to start the fight. They're going to get Destiny straight on it. Smoke Swag, he's going to be first, actually the second to fall. They're going to trade over. Unstoppable goes Bloon, but he's actually dead before he can get the kill on a Jeff, and they're maybe looking for a little bit more here. Okay, the Swain W is going to whiff from both Street Smurf and Warplake in the mid lane, and ultimately it's a pretty even fight, but YOLO, they have the priority in the mid lane, and they don't choose to go for that mid lane turret because the dragon is up right now, and it looks like Universal were the first to it right here. They have the crab, so they'll get the speed coming through. Death Ray is not going to be enough because the smite is good from Utility Monster. Going to get rooted up on the Gravity Field. Goes golden. He trying to delay the inevitability that he will fall. He will. Courtesy the ricochets coming through from Sivir. Warplate gets a double kill, and they'll walk away from that one. They get the soul point, but Sivir gets 2 on the back side of that fight.
Yeah, honestly, gorgeous play there from Warplake. I'm very surprised he was able to pick those up. But, I mean, like I was saying earlier, it's just so hard to engage in the YUBI team comp with this Swain dealing so much damage. When we're able to get that 4-man ult, it does not matter. They're getting blown up so quickly at this point. Swain has such a big gold lead. YUBI up 3-0 on the Dragons. Starting to look a little bit doomed here, I would say. But at the end of the day, both these teams are so impressive. Street Smurf is trying his hardest. You can tell. Oh my god, the fancy footwork in that last fight. He's able to pick up the Shadow Flame now. Oof. Really down to the wire here in this game.
Victor has definitely got his happy feet on for this one. He's footloose, baby, all in that mid lane, and he's showing you the best he can do. But unfortunately, he is 2 deaths to the good, but he also has 5 kills in concession to that, so he's still sitting pretty good in this game. You see 22 minutes, actually 23 minutes under the clock, and we're still at that 2,000 gold lead, just over. It's going to be for Universal in this one, so it's still right there for the taking. Both of these teams pivoting very nicely in these team fights. See Frozen AGS going to sense that maybe Brian's in there. Warplague just gonna go on to the CS duty in that mid lane. They're gonna push out the sides here, but look at the Aatrox and the Victor. They push them up to the sides and they're trying to get priority in these side lanes.
I mean, again, the team is called Scaling Copium. I think you really get one or the other. You either scale or you've got to be taking in that Copium here. And ooh, looking for an engage here. Civil Lock is on Street Smurf, not able to find it, not able to find anything in the mid lane. But I don't know. What do you think, Lam? You think we're gonna have a scaling game here for scaling Copium, or you think we're gonna have a Copium game here?
Well, if it is a scaling game, they're well on their way. They're still within arm's reach of Universal here, so they're not doing too bad.
Not
Has
at
to
all.
be said that they have to all be there, right? I feel like they've been trying to get picked off, and they haven't really been in the same vicinity as each other. As the Aatrox is normally coming down from the top or the bot here, so communication definitely there for these guys. As we see 2 minutes 30 on that soul, and that's going to be the big fight that we're waiting for here, unless they can find something else. Brian might be fishing here, but the whole team of YOLO is right there in the waiting. He ain't going to take the hook.
And at the end of the day, this really is the grudge matchup. You see these players are so close in skill. Civil Lock, Street Smurf, so close. Jeff Godgamer, Warplaque, both very, very impressive ADCs this game. Oh my god. Red and Smoke Swag also very, very close up in the top lane. We are able to see a little bit more maybe out of that Aatrox this game just because of the aspect of the champion able to get those big resets in these team fights. Just a lot to look out for, I think. Coming out with Urgot on the Executioner's Calling there.
Oh.
Finally starting to see some healing cut. I think that's going to make the difference in this next fight. I think you're going to see a big lead for YUBI in this next fight because of that. But I guess we're just going to have to watch and see.
Oh,
huge hook!
Flash hook straight onto the damn jungler. That means Baron's going to be free. Curse of the Sad Mummy is going to go down. They have to go for it now because he's already fallen. They'll pick up the Swain on the backside. Bullet Time's going to separate the Amur from entering the fight, but the Urgot Red might be in trouble here. The Dark and Blade's going to be secure with the World Ender's already put from the Aatrox, his utility monster. He's waiting. He's in Foggy War, but Jeff is certainly not from this Aatrox. The heal is going to get him out of those infernal chains, and that might have spelled his death. You see another flash fight right in front of us. Hold on. It ain't over. Utility monster put Street Smurf in the dirt, courtesy and accompanied by that turret in the top lane.
And what a crazy team fight. We see Street Smart at the end there just picking off a little bit more than he can chew. Jeff Godgamer just barely able to escape that Aatrox. He knows he's got to blow his heal, but he does it just perfectly. Huge Blitzcrank flash hook at the start of that fight to start things off. But the counter engage from Copium is just so powerful. That Aatrox is such a menace coming back in. Victor does so much damage. Man, this game, I mean, I can't understate it. This game is so close. It really is anyone's match still.
Who's going to take it? Who's going to have that decisive play that secures the standings for both of these teams here? Really sitting pretty good. Universal 8-3 for the season, scaling Copium. Yeah. Might be railing that Copium rather than the scaling, as Fish already said, but the Dragon's already started. They're not even in the vicinity. This will be a free Hextech Soul going to go over. Okay, World End, they're going to be popped. Everybody's in on the pit, but it's not going to be enough. Okay, Deathray is going to go through, accompanied by the Swain, the Demonic Ascension. Too damn powerful. Sivir's going to try her best to get the ricochet. Is not going to be enough. It's Street Smurf just, I mean, that's a credit to how that fight went. For his team, he's running away with less than 10% health. Going to try and get the back up, but utility is there. Does he tag him? Oh, Siphon is not enough to kill him.
He does stop his back though. Unfortunately, clears these waves so quickly. He really needs to get back to base, or they're going to be able to take a lot of these turrets, maybe even end the game. I mean, Copium is down for another, what, like 10-15 seconds. Just like gorgeously played team fight from YUBI there. Gorgeous front back comp.
The siege is right here. They're going to be on that inhibitor, and the Amumu, Tutankhamun just going to sit there and say, where did the time go, baby? Howard Carter, I know you're coming for me, but when is it going to be? He's going to sit pretty for now. Is Universal going to get off on that, and they secure the soul of the Hextech, and that's huge for their team.
Again, YUBI just able to set up on that dragon, start taking it. Aatrox goes in, but it's just too difficult to engage onto this team here. YUBI able to pick up a huge team fight. It looks like Copium is going for this
Yeah,
Baron
here
play.
come the
YUBI's not
desperation
there.
plays. They have
YUBI
to
is not
try and
there.
stall this game out here. MF has full control in that
They're
mid
gonna
lane.
get
They actually
connected.
don't know. Argot never reacted. They're going to secure it right here. Ragnarok going to be popped by the Olaf. Going to go straight on the Warplague. Warplague, good spell shield. Not going to help you with that one. Bullet Time's going to melt through the health bar on Mumu, but the Blitzcrank's going to fall in the back of that fight as Demonic Ascension secures the kill when the opposing mid laner there, and it looks like that's the ace that ends the game. Universal marching it down the mid lane with an open inhibitor.
Looks like it is going to be a Copium game this time. We have the classic North American Baron. You get the Baron, and then you get Ace, baby. Let's go. I mean, I gotta say, this was just a power match of the night. Absolutely fantastically played. No disrespect. No one in this game should be ashamed. Honestly, such a close match. Excellent macro coming out from either side. It really could have gone either way. But at the end of the day, this misfortune with that flank there at the end, Vi's not able to put enough damage on her. Able to pick up that team fight win. Able to get the Nexus.
So not the story that was foretold in the top lane with Aatrox and the Argot. It's actually going to be Eye straight into that mid lane. Victor, Swain doing so much in that game for both of their teams. But ultimately, there has to be a winner. And ultimately, there has to be a loser. So commiserations go through for Skill and Copium. They're going to end 8-5 for the season. I think it is. And Universal going to secure that 9th win of the season. Looking good and secure that in the standings. So, with that being said, we will head to a short break here as we have another game. Believe it or not, we have another game coming up. It's going to be Fat Pikachu against Blue Bayou Zoo. Hope I said that right, but look, we're going to be straight back after this. It won't be the game, it will actually be an interview. We'll get that from the winning team, so stay tuned for that one, guys, and we'll see you in just a hot sec.
Hello, everyone. Chris Edgeworth here with our first interview of the night, joined by yet another Universal Basic Income member. I say that because I didn't have to change the victory scene, I realized. So that was pretty nice. Saved me some work. So shouts out to Civilock and the team here for the win. How are you feeling?
Pretty good. Everything went pretty closely to how we planned, and we were able to take the W today. And I'm really happy too because this places us, I believe, second in the standings now that all of the bye weeks and shenanigans have kind of evened out. We're pretty clear. We are in sole possession of the second place spot, and I'm pretty excited to fight for that first place spot next week.
Hell yeah. Let's talk about this game. Looking at the draft, overall, a little bit of stuff that is both familiar from friend or foe, stuff that is familiar because we're seeing it pop up so much on the world stage. Wink, wink, the Aatrox. Um, Very interesting stuff on both sides. Of course, I do want to shout out right here at the top Street Smurf, who put in a phenomenal performance against you. But in the end, better mid wins. Am I right? So
Yeah,
talk to me a little about the
of course, of
draft.
course. So I actually managed to attend draft day, which was a pretty big improvement
Ooh.
over some of our usual drafts. But as always, I trust my captain, Utility Monster, with my life. He always picks those good high win rate champions, so not too worried. But I was actually in draft today. Basically, our meta read was that after the buffs, Blitzcrank support is basically just the best character in the game. He just got a bunch of free damage after being an already good character. And I know everyone, a few of my best friends, have been really excited about Jungle Blitzcrank. Jungle Blitzcrank is trash. You shouldn't play it. But support Blitzcrank was good before and only got strictly better. So now that Blitzcrank has damage, he can not only hook you, he can also spank you afterward and convert those kills a lot more easily. So we knew for sure we wanted Blitzcrank. We picked Swain after they showed a lot of their team comp. Even though it was blind in the matchup, we were pretty confident that they would save red side last pick from mid counter pick after our last match against them. So we picked that Swain after they show a very committed team fighting frontline type comp. And we were pretty sure that even in a bad lane matchup, Swain would still prove to be pretty useful against a comp that was that committed to engage. We made some mistakes before picking Swain against too much range and then having issues, but against a team that's conventional front to back that wants to dive in, Swain will always retain value. And I got put in that bad matchup against Victor. It's pretty miserable 1v1, and I didn't play it particularly well. But even though Street got ahead of me in the 1v1, I was able to press the R button and ghost rapidly at them with Rylai and do a lot of good stuff in team fights.
That is certainly one thing that we were talking about after the game had ended before I stepped into the interview, was that Swain and your role on Swain with the team composition, as you pointed out, and they had to be aggressive into you guys. So the ability to just be Rylai injuries and chill is very, very potent. So I think it was a really excellent read on the Swain pick here. Talk to me a little bit, if you would, overall about what the early game plan was for your team and what some of your comms were like, because it was sort of a tepid early game before it started to get really aggro.
Yeah. So basically, our comms were Red saying that he's ending this guy top and he's got the best lane state ever. I'm complaining the whole game that I'm getting completely owned and there's massive range gap and I can't do anything. And I don't really know what happens bottom lane. They're just hanging out. Sometimes Brian just will silently hook somebody and kill them, or silently hook someone and then he'll die. But you know, I feel like he wins that coin flip 70-80% of the time, so I have a lot of confidence. And of course, Utility Monster, our fearless leader, like he hits his camps and stuff, and sometimes he distracts us with philosophical conversation to make us lane worse. But overall, everyone kind of fulfilled their communication role in that regard. We got to that first dragon, and it was a little touch and go at that big major fight. Aatrox picks up a bunch of kills because we narrowly miss combo, and we don't get the R2 activation on Urgot ultimate. And Red, of course, had to complain that he was now outscaled in the 1v1, but we made sure to reassure him that Swain picking up all those kills in the team fight would keep us definitively ahead in the team fight situation. And because we kept securing those dragons, we could always fight on our own terms.
Absolutely. I think overall the biggest thing, as you touched on, was the Aatrox's balanced moment. We're able to just reset with the innate lifesteal, and then at that point had the I want to say the Eclipse online and a garage sale, but just get so much innate healing that just really was able to pop off there in the fight, get the sustain through. You had the Conqueror for your part, so with them all just walking into your ultimate, you're getting some nice free healing there as well. So overall, interesting game, well played on the likes of YUBI. To not let the gold going into the Aatrox's hands derail this, because I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, that actually made the Aatrox like 6-1, and so it was really tough because the game ended 6-5 for him. And as I touched on earlier, Street Smurf actually tops the damage charts. 33k wasn't enough. Better mid lane wins. So
Of course.
we'll just have to see how it goes. I want to look forward to next week for you folks. What are your feelings on your final 2 matches? I'm assuming you got 2 matches next week as we get ready for playoffs.
Yeah, I am super, super excited for next week because I believe we're against BBZ, who we previously lost to in the first round robin. And we are also against SLR, who I believe we also lost to in the first round robin. So this is kind of our redemption week. We have a couple losses on our record, and I would really like to fix that record against those 2 teams and prove that we can be maybe number 2 seed, maybe even number 1 seed going into playoffs.
Civillock, any final thoughts before we step away into game 2? Any shoutouts, any banter?
Yeah. Shout out to Brian. He's just always tearing it up on the Rift. The God Hand. So really awesome to see all of these big playmakers and give them a ton of agency to impact the game. Shout out to Red for keeping it cool, even though he fed his lane opponent. Thanks to the public transit that got me into this game in time, because I had to commute from work, but light rail runs really consistently every 8 minutes in Seattle, so definitely support your local public transportation infrastructure, everyone.
All right. Well, that's going to be it for this interview. Well said. We'll be back after a short break with our second and somehow final game of the day, so don't go too far.